Yes, people, welcome back to Mission Podcast, and we're back with another movie slash show episode. Well, today specifically, we're talking about a TV show, one of our favorite TV shows of all time. Really, I know certainly is mine. Ozark. I mean, it first came on the air in 2017. Netflix produced, and it ended about 3 years ago, 2022. Only 4 seasons, but quality over quantity. Yeah, before we get into we're gonna do like a tier ranking of all the characters and the seasons as well. We just want to talk about the show in general for a bit. What were our first memories of the show? When did we start watching it? What did we like initially think of the show and its legacy? I remember I think I started Ozark a few months after it first came out. The only reason I started it was because Netflix were hyping it. I think the way they were promoting it, they were like showing it like it's to be the next Breaking Bad or something. So
Yeah.
automatically it piqued my interest. And Jason Bateman, that's an actor that I really, really like. He usually does comedic roles. I've never seen him do like a serious role before. And then I watched the trailer and I thought, oh, this looks kind of dark, kind of gritty. I was interested. I was like, I've never seen Jason Bateman do like a serious role before. And yeah, so I was excited. I was like, you know what, let me give it a try. And it's definitely not like Breaking Bad. Like, that's where I think the biggest misconception of the show is people painted it as like the new Breaking Bad when it's completely different. Not completely different, but it is very different. And I remember watching season one and I was blown away. I genuinely loved every single minute of the show. I thought it went from strength to strength. Season one is still one of my favorite seasons of all time. Season two was a good, very solid season as well, and I thought season three was very entertaining. And then season four is a mixed bag. I think the first half of season four was great, and then it was a disappointing second half, the end of season four. But we'll talk about the seasons later on in the episode. Danny, what were your initial thoughts on Ozark? What did you think of the show?
I think I can't remember exactly when I started watching it, but it was like a year or so after. Like it wasn't straight away. I heard about the show and it was on my list to watch, but at that time I was watching a few other things, so I kept that on the back burner. And then when I started watching it, I was hooked, man. Season one was genuinely sensational. I loved every minute of season one. I don't think I'd ever watched a series before that had this contrast of like a middle class family just being dropped into a whole criminal underworld which they had no clue about. So that aspect of it I really liked. And again, every episode felt like it had stakes. Like
Yeah,
you had Morty who was juggling so many lads at once. Wendy was making deals left, right, center. You had the local criminals that were, clashing with the cartel. And then again, you had, the family basically being one step away from getting shot. So there were a lot of moving pieces on the show. That's why, in my opinion, my favorite season is season one. Like you said, I still enjoyed season two and season three. Season four, the first half, it got off to a rocky start, but I thought it finished okay. But yeah, I'm also glad they didn't drag it. I think 4 seasons or so was perfect for this kind of show. We've seen some shows, we spoke about The Walking Dead where they just dragged it on for so long, and me and you both stopped watching it. But I feel like Ozark it was a good length.
yeah. I think 4 seasons was the right amount. I think they made the right decision to call it a day. But yeah, thinking of like Netflix specific shows made by Netflix, a lot of the times Netflix put out a lot of slop, don't they? So Ozark is one of the few like good shows that they've actually produced, and it could arguably be the best show they've ever made. I mean, I know some people will debate that, but we're specifically just going to talk about Ozark today, and yeah, we're going to talk about the characters, some of our favorite characters, and then we're also going to talk about the seasons and overall legacy of the show. But yeah, let's not waste any more time. Let's get straight into it then. The tier ranking of characters from Ozark.
S2D, I think that's okay. We don't need to change that.
Yeah, that's fine. All right, cool. First up, we got Jacob Snell. You know what? I really enjoyed his character. He's only in it for what, 2 seasons? Oh, obviously. Oh yeah, I forgot disclaimer. Spoilers ahead. But I don't know why you click on this video if you haven't seen it.
Yeah.
So yeah, but Jacob Snell, he was in it for 2 seasons, and I think for the impact that he had, he's a very good villain. He was a very good character. He had a lot of aura about him. The actor was really good. Like just the way he used to speak with that twang and just say things. I think funny enough, my favorite Jacob Snell moment is Do you remember when Darlene shoots Dale and then he's like, God damn it, Darlene, you just can't do that. It's just so funny. It's out of context, but it's just hilarious the way he's so chilled about it. But yeah, Jacob Snell was a great character. Him and Darlene, basically, the whole shtick was about legacy, how they were like, felt like natives should be running the Ozarks. They liked having power and control, and they saw the birds come in and they felt threatened by the birds and the cartel, but they're just wild cards, in it. They don't care. They're not really they're motivated by money, but they have, well, in their eyes, they have morals and ethics, which they're not very moral people, but in their eyes, they think they're moral, they think they're superior. They think because they have Ozark blood, they are entitled to things. And yeah, we see that throughout the course of the show. And in season 2, Jacob, the way they kill him off, in general, Ozark was not afraid to kill off characters. That's one thing I respect about the show. No matter how good of a character they were, they weren't immune. They didn't have plot armor. Basically, they were immune to plot armor. So Jacob Snell, I remember when he died, it was a good little story because the way they told it was like Darlene was becoming very ambitious and Jacob was more like becoming a bit more reserved, in his old age. And Darlene basically outgrew him and he couldn't keep up with her anymore. And it was a beautiful ending to his arc, I think. But yeah, what do you make of Jacob, Danny?
Yeah, I thought he was a great villain for, the 2 seasons he was there. Great character. He wasn't emotional. I'd say he was a really, calm character. Like he's the type of man who'd shake your hand, he'd sit you down for tea, and then bang, he'd just execute you like that. So yeah, man, a great character. Like you said, his dynamic with Darlene, I thought was one of the best in the series. I feel like they were one of the most twisted, compelling couples in the whole series. And like she's this volatile, emotional, unpredictable character, and then there's him, who's rational, really calm character. So yeah, and again, I feel like he's one of those characters that would absolutely run a heroin empire in Ozarks. Like he feels like that kind of man, and I feel like that's one amazing thing about him. I feel like he also understands power better than most characters. Like some characters don't know what it. I feel like some of the other characters we get onto, I don't know. They didn't know how power would feel like. He absolutely got it from the start to the finish. He was there, and again, his death I think was one of the most impactful. Like Jacob's poisoning by Darlene, I thought was one of the most powerful moments on the whole show. So yeah, man, a really good, solid character. He
I
definitely was the
think
best.
what I like about Jacob as well is he's just, as you said, he was so cold, he was so calculated. The way he talked as well, it was just really gripping. You couldn't take your eyes off the screen when he was talking. The way you were talking riddles and stuff like that. But yeah, I think one of the darkest scenes in the show is they didn't show it, but the way they done it, they done like a cold open. I think when Marty goes to the house to try and find, I think, the priest's wife, and she was pregnant, and I think they killed her, but they took the baby out and they just leave the baby there. It was a very chilling, cold open. That's one that I always remember. But yeah, Jacob Snell was a very good character. I'd say he's a solid B or a A.
B. Yeah, I'm fine
Yeah,
B.
B tier.
Next one.
Is that heavy?
Yeah, Javi.
Yeah. Now, listen, again, another character who's not in it that much. One thing that I think the show kind of like, not fun, but sometimes they'd have a really good villain and they had the tendency to just kill him off like Rush. And I think Javi is one of them. Like he was the big bad of season 4 at the start. He comes in as like this wild card guy trying to take over from his uncle Navarro to run the family cartel, and Navarro basically can't control him. He just does what he wants, and I really like that about Javi. Like he just like did whatever he wants. He was a wild card. I mean, I remember he goes to live in the Ozarks, doesn't he? To like so he can keep
Yeah,
a close eye on the birds, and they're like shit scared of him. They're like, this guy is like, what the fuck? I'm usually Marty and Wendy. They're good talkers, innit? They're good at like controlling the narrative. But with a guy like him, they knew they couldn't. And I think one of the first scenes, a cop pulls up to Javi's house and he just like kills them on the spot, like ruthless. He just didn't give a fuck. And yeah, Javi was a great character. I still remember when he kills the way he killed Darlene and Wyatt was amazing. It's literally he just done it so quick and cold. He's like, okay, and he's like, I warned you not to sell on my territory, and he just pops her like she's nothing. And then Wyatt's just like, who are you? He's like, who are you? And he just kills him as well. It was amazing. And then I feel like this is the biggest mistake they made with the final season. They decided to kill him off like straight away in the second half of season 4, which I felt was a bit anticlimactic. Like, because after he dies, they lacked a proper villain. What do
Yeah.
you think, Danny?
Yeah, I really liked Javi. He's one of my favorite characters in the late seasons. He also changed the show overnight. Like when he arrived, he kills Helen, he kills the sheriff, I think. He goes after Dolly and Awaya. And again, he basically, the last two seasons, he just threw all the power structure by himself. And I feel like there's a few characters that could actually do that, in the world of Ozark. And again, he drives a lot of different arcs. Like, I think Ruthie's revenge arc, Wyatt's death, the cartel power shift. Again, Navarro being undermined. I feel like all of these were derived by Javi. So again, I feel like he's, in my opinion, a really, really solid character. And again, I just hope he was there for long because, like you said, once they killed him off, the show did really, lack a villain that could, take that, take the reins forward. And after Javi was killed off, yeah, they didn't have anyone like that. So I mean, I rate him really highly. Good villain.
Yeah, he was a good villain. I mean, after I think I like the way they killed him though. Like Rufus, it was a very badass death,
Yeah.
but yeah, look in hindsight, especially with how season 4 ended, they could have really used him as the big bad for the rest of the season. But I think he's a solid character though, even though he's only in it for like a few episodes. I'd say B or a C.
I'd say B.
Yeah. Right. Next, one of the main characters. Now, listen. People like they complain. I think Skylar from Breaking Bad, yeah, people hate her and like slander her and everything. But when you like deep it, she didn't really do much wrong, did she? Skylar, literally, it's her husband's fault.
No,
Her
yeah.
husband done put her through so much, and people just hate her. And then I think the hate is more warranted for a character like Wendy Bird. She is one awful, awful person. I hated her, but she's a fantastic character. Even though I hated her, I couldn't stand her. I think she along with Jason Bateman is one of the standouts of the show, and the whole dynamic between her and Marty, and then seeing her thirst for power and how her ambition started becoming before the family's needs, and like she's actually fucking good at it. She's good at like talking to the cartel, being like a mediator. It was scary to see at times as well, and even Marty, he was shit scared of it. And yeah, I think Wendy Bird, Laura Linney, the actress, done a tremendous job with her character. What do you think, Danny?
Bro, she has one of the best character transformations in TV, period, that I've seen. Like in season one, yeah, she basically she cheated on Monty. She was this angry, frustrated wife, scared of crime. She struggled with the change, and she was trying to hold the family together. And then by season four, she's this ruthless manipulator, really intimidating. She was willing to sacrifice the people she loved just for control, and I think she was more dangerous than probably half of the criminals on the show. So her character arc on the show is one of the best things about the show. Like you said, when you're watching the series, you absolutely despise her, but that's what makes her such a good villain. So for me, one of the best characters on the show, man.
I wouldn't say she's a villain, but just as the seasons go on, she becomes more and more depraved of her
Yeah,
morality. Like, she just doesn't care, and I think with Marty, he felt a little bit of like what's it called, regret over his actions. Like he didn't enjoy doing what he had to do. Whereas a character like Wendy, at times it seemed like she enjoyed it and she was thriving in that environment. I mean, I think is it season 2 when Marty has a plan to like escape to Australia or something and get them out, and then Wendy's like basically says, no, we're not doing that. We're gonna stay and we're gonna run this empire. I think Wendy, she without even like planning on it, she becomes good at what she does, which is funny. And it creates like a power struggle between them. I mean, you see a character like Navarro, he instantly takes a liking to Wendy. He rates her ambition. He rates her how good of a talker she is. Like she's very business savvy. She knows how to talk to people. She knows how to connect, and that's the best. That's a compliment to both Marty and Wendy. They had the gift of the gab. They knew how to talk. They could talk themselves out of any situation. And we complain about plot armor and stuff, but with characters like them, it kind of made sense because they were so convincing when they would talk to people. You'd be like, oh yeah, I can fall for their bullshit or their lies. But yeah, as you said, Wendy, as the seasons go on, she just gets this thirst for power, for status and money, and she basically gets them in deeper and deeper and deeper
yeah,
into the cartel. And it's a fascinating dynamic. I'm not gonna lie, I loved it. I enjoyed the power struggle between them. I mean, Wendy and Marty have some of the best scenes in the show. You know when they're crashing out at each other and just like
Yeah.
having an argument. I remember the famous season 3 scene when I think they're both paying the therapist to like give like biased advice or something. It's such a funny scene, but it's so good. And then they end up just swearing at each other and saying, "Oh yeah, this, you're that," and the therapist is just there like hearing all their criminal activities and stuff. And it's such a great scene. But yeah, Wendy Bird, what a character.
Also, her relationship with her kids is tragic, man. It's one of the most
Oh,
painful parts of the show. Like, you can see Jonah, who he starts rebelling because Wendy Laz, she was manipulating him. She was trying to gaslight him, and then I mean, she thinks she's a mother who's trying to protect her children, but she destroyed them emotionally. So that part of the show, her relationship with the children, man, that was painful.
yeah, but as I said, credit to her. She's a
Yeah,
phenomenal actress. I remember that. I remember when she makes the call to get her brother killed, which is it's a heartbreaking scene, one of the saddest scenes in the whole show. And we'll get on to Ben in a bit, but her acting in that episode when she's phoning Marty and she's like, "I don't know what I'm doing," and she's like breaking down and crying. Wow, whoa, just phenomenal acting. I think the show in general has had some really great acting performances. But Wendy Bird, I mean, even though I don't like her, I can sit there and say without her, the show wouldn't be what it was. And I think she's easily an S tier character.
yeah, easily. Grace Young.
Grace, she, remember she was in it for like 2 seasons, yeah, and then she wasn't in season 3, and they randomly brought her back in season 4, and they made her the one to kill Nelson, which was so shit. I'm
Oh
sorry,
yeah,
I hated that. Nelson's like this stone cold killer, and what he gets taken out by her. I mean, in season 1, we see her like she's struggling. She's running like, is it like a hotel sort of bar thing, the Blue Lodge, like a motel or something?
yeah,
And Marty comes in, obviously, gift of the gab. He manages to like say, "I want to take over your failing business." Worms himself in, and then obviously she finds out Marty's money laundering, and I think she takes the money, doesn't she? That she
yeah.
finds dips, and I think she even wore wire note at one point to try and catch Marty. I think she did in the show. I think Agent Petty got her to do that. But to be honest, Grace, is it Grace or Rachel?
Grace.
Oh yeah, yeah. It's kind of a forgettable character. I
I'll
think
take
like I'm
it.
talking about Rachel, to be honest.
I think you are too. I was,
Yeah,
I was
no.
literally, I'm pretty sure Grace was one of the most quietest characters on the show, and we barely did anything about her.
Who was Grace? I can't remember Grace.
She,
My bad.
do you remember how she died?
Is she the old woman that got pushed?
It was off screen. Yeah, yeah. No, she died off screen. They never showed her death.
I can't remember Grace.
Never
Fucking
mind.
hell.
Yeah, but
Oh,
yeah,
my
she
guys.
wasn't an important character.
I thought we were talking about Rachel, but yeah. I was thinking that's not her name, but yeah, Grace.
Rachel at the bottom.
Oh yeah, my bad, guys, my bad. But Grace, I can't remember her, so
Yeah, like I
is it?
said, Copy, she wasn't an important character. She was there for not that long. She was the wife of the pastry copy, Mason Young.
Oh, fucking, oh yeah. She's not really in.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. That's
Why
true.
she?
So yeah, point D. Randall.
You should make that why they're here.
D.
Yeah, to be honest. Fucking hell, I thought that was Rachel. I was rambling on and on. And then I think you can put the next character there as well, to be honest. One thing I didn't like about Ozark that much was the political side of it.
Yeah.
That was a bit, not boring, but it wasn't the best part of the show. And season 2 had a lot of it, so season 2 wasn't my favorite season.
Next is Randall.
Yeah, I was gonna say just put him in. Why is he there?
Wyatt.
Okay, Wyatt. I know he's like fans loved him, but really and truly, yeah, is he that great of a character? I don't think so. He's an idiot. He is an idiot. I get he's young and that, but like, bruv, what are you doing? Like, why would you? That's him and Darlene. Oh my days.
Didn't Harvey kill him? If I remember correctly.
Yeah, it was heavy. He was literally
Yeah.
just there and he killed him. But
Yeah.
listen, Wyatt was such a stupid. Like, I get it. He lost his dad and stuff, but he was such a stupid character. Like Ruth done everything to get this guy out, and he just wanted to like get in deeper and deeper. For what reason? I don't even know why. Like he's trying to prove something. He hooks up with Darlene, which is one of the craziest storylines in the show. But the show is kind of crazy anyway. So I didn't think it was too out of the blue. But yeah, and he's like trying to become like this kingpin with Darlene, and it's like, bro, you are not that guy, man. You're not built for this. Get out, go to college, whatever. And yeah, I mean, I think people say, "Oh, him killing him was too." I don't really think so. I mean, he was there, and what was he gonna do? Just let him leave? Like,
Exactly.
I think Wyatt is dead because of his own actions. It's his own fault for getting mixed up with Darlene. As harsh as that is, but obviously Wyatt has a big impact on Ruth as well. I think their relationship was really good and really well done. And you can see that the death of Wyatt really affected Ruth, which was quite sad because all Ruth wanted to do was get Wyatt out of that situation they were in. But sadly, it didn't pan out that way. But he's not a why are they here, but I think he's a C.
Agreed.
Right? Who is that's the pastor?
Yeah, again.
I I actually like this character. I can't lie. I mean, he became more and more crazy, but like it's understandable though. The way he lost his wife, the way he got basically used and manipulated by both the Snells and the birds. Like he was caught in the middle, and I kind of felt bad for his character. Like, wasn't it? Were they selling drugs at his like sermons and stuff on the
Yeah.
boats? Yeah, I was up, but like fair play to him in it. Like obviously he's a priest or a pastor. I don't know the difference to be honest, but as soon as he finds out that they're dealing drugs, he actually shows a lot of balls to go confront them and tell them I don't want this happening. And it's sad because it kind of gets his wife killed, doesn't it? I mean, the birds try to reason with him, saying, "Don't go all guns blazing. Like we'll find a solution." Blah blah blah. But he was just so headstrong and like with his faith and stuff. But it gets his wife killed, and he's left as a single dad. What did you think of his character, Danny?
Yeah, I thought he was okay. Like you said, he's probably a tier above Grace and Randall. I thought he was a emotionally, heavy character, but I mean, he only impacts the story. Was it the first two seasons?
Yeah,
If I
they
remember correctly.
killed him in season two, Marty and Wendy.
Yeah, exactly. So again, he's an okay character. I did like his conflict with Morty in, season two. I thought that was one of the best subplots in that season. Didn't Mason kidnap Wendy, and
Yeah,
then his confrontation with Morty was, really good. I really liked that part of his character. So yeah, a few good moments, but definitely not that high. I'll put him a C.
but I feel like he had potential if they decided to keep him because
Yeah,
I enjoyed seeing his descent into madness, and he was kind of right. That's the fucked up thing. He was right about them, the birds and the snails, but it is what it is. In that world, unfortunately, the good don't last. But yeah, I'd put him in C. Helen, I think.
yeah,
Listen, Helen was a really good character. Like she had this aura about her. Like she was so chilled, so calm, but behind the scenes you realize she's basically just in as deep as the birds are. She's doing it against her own will, but you don't really get that vibe from her in like meetings and stuff. She's so like chilled and nonchalant when she speaks. She's so like smart as well. Yeah, what did you think of Helen, Danny?
yeah. Again, like you said, she is one of those, I'd say she's a cold-blooded character in the way she was moving. She made Morty and Wendy feel tiny compared to her. Like she manipulates them. She basically controls their fate, makes them feel disposable. Her war with Wendy I thought was phenomenal. And again, her death is probably one of the best endings in TV history. So I mean, I
That
really enjoyed the character.
um, but yeah, see, the main plot of season three was basically Marty and Wendy versus Helen, and
Yeah,
both of them were trying to show Navarro who is more useful to keep. And I really enjoyed it. It was thrilling. It had you on the edge of your seat. Season three was very good television. I'm not gonna lie.
yeah,
Um, and then Helen, yeah, as you said, Danny, her death, fucking hell, it was so good. Like she has this confidence. Yeah, it's so funny because I'm pretty sure she was set that she was the one that's going to be kept alive, and then Nelson, her assistant, just bloody offs her. Like he don't care, bro. He just does whatever he's told, and the way they do it is so beautiful. And then you see Navarro hugging them like "Welcome to Mexico," and you see Helen's blood all over them. And the end, it's just such a great way to end season 3. It's one of my favorite endings of any show, to be honest. An episode. It was so good. Great way to end the season. But yeah, Helen was a very good character. She was in it for 2 seasons, but I thought the actress done a phenomenal job as well. I'd put in B, to be honest.
I'll be fine with that.
Yeah.
Jade.
Oh, is that the stripper?
Yeah.
Yeah, why are they there?
Boy.
This is Boyd, one of the brothers, isn't it? He's a bit. To be honest, we didn't really get much of a storyline with him.
Yeah.
Like Russ. I put him why are they there, to be honest.
He's Ruth's uncle, I think, innit?
Yeah.
Yeah. Jonah.
Jonah was a very interesting character. There was something weird about him from the start. Like he was obsessed with dead animals and stuff like that. The way I think he has a very good character development as well.
Yeah.
Jonah does it. Like they always tease that throughout the whole show. They teased Jonah's gonna have a big moment towards the end of the show, and he did. I think Jonah, the way he takes, like most kids would be like shitting it, like his what they're in the cartel, blah blah blah. But he seemed happy, not happy, but like he was enjoying it. He was like genuinely curious and interested. I remember there's a scene when he's at his school and he's explaining what money laundering is, and it's just such a good scene. And yeah, and then I think Wendy is reluctant to like teaching the ins and outs of like money laundering and all that, but Marty's like, why not? And that's one thing I really like about the show. You know, most people, the main characters, they want to keep their family away from what they're doing as much as possible. But in a show like Ozark, they were just like, fuck it, we might as well tell them. I think Wendy said it in one episode, like she just like randomly drops it. Your father's in a Mexican drug cartel. It was so good. And it was actually very interesting to see them as a family working together then to keep their secret and keep themselves alive. It was really good. And Jonah was a great character. What did you think, Dan?
Yeah, like you said, he had one of the most interesting arcs, I think, in the film. Like, well, he begins as a tech smart, this awkward kid he was fascinated, by basically criminals, guns, money
Yeah.
laundering, and then by the end of that, he just becomes more powerful. He becomes just morally opposed to Wendy, more emotionally loyal to Ruth. He begins money laundering on his own, and again, he rebels against his parents. Like basically, like no one does because he knew that he was getting manipulated, and where Wendy thought she was protecting her children, but I mean, she was just emotionally destroying them. So yeah, man. But
I
yeah,
think with
uh,
Jonah as well, he goes through a lot of character development because at the
yeah,
start he's this kid that's just finds it cool. He's interested in the cartel and guns and all that. And by season 3, he develops a connection with Ben and his uncle. And when he finds out his uncle died because of his mum, basically, he's like loses it and he's like because his whole thing is we're doing this because of the sake of the family, right? Which is not his fault because that's what his parents have told him. And then when his parents go and kill their uncle Ben, it's like what the fuck? That doesn't make any sense. So he was a great character. And then season 4, there was a conflict between him and Wendy. Like he
yeah,
moves up. He basically doesn't want anything to do with them. But the beautiful thing by the end of the show, I think Jonah he accepts what his mom done and he gets why she done it. And he doesn't forgive her, but he's like, I get it. And he has a big moment when he pulls the shotgun on that. That detective was so stupid, by the way, for not just going straight to the police.
yeah,
But yeah, the way the show ends, I will get to the ending of the show in a bit, but the way Jonah's just there and like he's so nonchalant about it, he doesn't care anymore. Like, and his parents don't even care as well anymore. They're like, yeah, do it. It was so fascinating to see. Jonah's a really, really interesting character. I think he's one of the better child like characters out there. Most of the time in these shows, the kids are very annoying. I don't think that's the case in Ozark, to be honest. I'd say Jonah's a B.
yeah. I'll be fine with that. Took
This guy was a G.
funny guy, man.
So we put him in C though.
Ruth.
Ruth, what a character. I think she was the heartbeat of the show. I'm not gonna lie. Like she was a character that everyone loved. Like especially she's one of the greatest written female characters of all time, in my opinion. She was so cool. She was so interesting. Her crash outs were the best. You know when she used to like swear at people, it was the funniest thing ever. Like the way I remember that once she's like, "I don't know shit about fuck." Like the way she says it with her accent is so good. And Ruth, the very first episode, we meet Ruth, yeah, when the Langmores take Marty's money. Like the rest of them are so dumb in it; they just don't care. They just want the money to spend on whatever. But Ruth actually shows an interest in where this money has come from, and she, even though Marty is a smart guy, he kind of met his match in Ruth, because I remember when he's like telling them, "Oh, the cartel's gonna hunt down every one of you and kill you," blah blah. The only one that was unfazed by it was Ruth, and she's so smart. The way she was like, "Oh, I want to work with Marty. I want to learn from him, so I can get my family out of the dump, basically." Because I think the whole theme of the show were the Langmores were cursed. They were known as this white trash like family that lived in the Ozarks, and she wanted to change their reputation and their image. And I think that's why people appeal to her as well and like her as a character, because they can kind of relate to maybe coming from an unfortunate background where you're judged because of who you're related to. And Ruth was just such a great character. The way she develops, she's just such a strong character that you genuinely like. She's not annoying, even though she does like crimes and stuff. She's got a heart. She's got a moral compass. I mean, you see it with Ben, and even the way she goes. I think her death was the saddest, but I'm kind of glad they killed her off, because, as we said, this is not a show where plot armor keeps you alive. And at the end of the day, she killed Cavi. She killed the cartel, one of the cartel leader's son. She was never going to get away with it, but shout out Ruth Langmore. What a character. I love the fact that she used to listen to like hip hop. They used to always have montages of her listening to hip hop, which was a juxtaposition because she's like from the country and stuff. But yeah, Ruth was a great character. What do you think of her, Danny?
Yeah, just the actor, Julia Garner. I think she's a great actor. We've seen it in Weapons. I think this year she was the teacher, and she was phenomenal in there. And again, this role, I thought she was amazing. She probably has the best arc in the show, I'd say. Yeah, I can. Her or Wendy, I'd say probably had the best arc in the whole show. Like, I think her arc was really heartbreaking. She was this tough, rough-edged girl, and then she ended up basically being someone who was trying to fight to break this cycle, and by the end of it, she just got crushed by the cartel. And yeah, great character. I feel like she's the show's moral compass. If you take all the characters in account, I'd say she's the show's moral compass. Or like Monty or Wendy, she feels the guilt. She values loyalty. She wants honesty, and we can't say that about basically any other character. And she isn't consumed by power. So yeah, I feel like she. I don't know if this is the right comparison, but I feel like she is what Monty could have been if he kept his humanity.
Yeah, 100%. And the thing that I like about, obviously, Ruth and Marty, they develop a special connection in the show, like a father-daughter sort of bond. And you see it because Marty's always trying to protect her and look out for her, whereas Wendy's always advocating for forget about her. She's not one of us. And even by the end of the show, when it's kind of sad when Marty, like usually every time he tries to save her, and this time he couldn't do it. Like he had to just let her go, and it was quite sad to see. But yeah, man, Wendy, like her relationship with Ben was kind of good. Obviously her relationship with Wyatt. Wendy's a tragic character. I remember when she finds her acting when she finds out Wyatt died was so good. When she pulls up to the bird house and she's just like her facial expressions. It's one of the best acted scenes I think I've ever seen. Shout out Julia Garner. I think she's doing very well since Ozark's finished anyway. But yeah, what a character, what an actress. As you said, Danny, a heartbreaking character, but one of the best protagonists I'd say the show had, and in
Yeah,
general. I think S easily.
I think she deserves this. Yeah.
Yeah.
Next one is Ben.
Oh, now Ben, this is another phenomenal actor. I'm not gonna lie, I've seen him in a few stuff
Yeah.
now. He's so underrated. He's a very good actor. So he comes into season 3, and the first time we see, I think he's a school teacher, and then he just randomly beats someone up. Like we can tell, this guy's a wild card. He's a bit of a, he's not all there. And then it gets revealed he's Wendy's brother, and I thought that was a fascinating side because it opened up a story about Wendy's
Yeah.
past. Because Wendy, she's not from Chicago like Marty. She's from the country, and the South, and obviously when we delve more into the Wendy's backstory and her upbringing, and Ben, he's another guy you could say is a moral compass of the show as well. Like he has a lot of heart and he cares about his family, you know, and people love him. But he was just a danger to himself. He stopped taking his meds, which, to be honest, is his own fault as well, and Ruth's. I think, even though I feel bad for them, they kind of created that scenario. I mean, Wendy warned them both, like to not stop taking your meds, not to get involved. Do you know what I mean? Because she knew the out. She knew what, unfortunately, due to Ben's condition, what it would end up being. But I think we're all going to talk about that episode when he's in the taxi. It's a cold open, and he's in the taxi, and he's just waffling, rambling on and on with tears in his eyes, talking about life and stuff to the taxi driver. It's one of the best scenes the show's ever had. It was so good, and his death, I think, is the most heartbreaking in the show. Just the way they done it was so gut wrenching. You knew it was going to happen, but you were still shocked. It's like, oh my god, she's going to get her brother killed. And yeah, what do you make of it, Danny?
I feel like his storyline in general is probably one of the most heartbreaking in the series. Like his downfall, going from this kind-hearted, funny teacher to a man that, I think he was one of the few people of the shows that was always honest and wanted no part of the crime world, and then that, ultimately ended up being his downfall. And that final episode, I thought, is one of the most emotionally crushing, I've seen personally. His relationship with Ruth, like you said, was beautiful. Their connection, I thought, was great. His honesty was, like I said, probably his biggest downfall. Like he is the only character, in my opinion, that just absolutely refused to play the criminal game. He tells the truth. He exposes the lies. He tells Jonah everything, and he doesn't hide, behind anyone or anything. And yeah, being the better man didn't, ultimately,
He was
basically,
too good to be in a world like that, and he was too
yeah.
pure. And but yeah, his death plays a big part in the show because it makes Wendy absolutely despise not Wendy, Ruth despise the birds. It ruins Wendy's relationship with Jonah. And
Do you remember that speech in the casino where he
yeah,
exposes Helen?
yeah, that was great. Listen, Ben was even though he's only in it for a season, I rate him very highly. Like I think the actor was phenomenal, and his storyline, like it was great to see the conflict because he was a bit of a wild card, right?
Yeah,
The problems that he presented to Marty and Wendy. I'd say he's an A.
yeah, I'd agree with that. Darlene.
Oh, fucking hell, she was one crazy bitch, wasn't she? But you know what? We love that about her. I mean, to be honest, I do feel that she should have been killed off a long time ago because she was making such reckless decisions and she just acted on instinct, like pure emotion. She just didn't give a fuck. But that's one thing you like about her. Like, she was just, as we said, she's just fucking crazy, bro. Nobody could control that woman. Even Jacob couldn't. She killed her own husband, who she loves dearly. Yeah, credit to the actress. She was phenomenal. Yeah, well, she won. You just can't. I just always remember that scene. You just can't do that, Darlene. The way she fucking killed Dell. Oh my god, it was brutal, bro. I thought Dell was gonna be the big bad for the whole show, and then he just gets shotgun in the face. All my days, and it's like because he called them rednecks, in it. But yeah, just characters based off pure emotion. And Darlene, she was just crazy, wasn't she? She was a sicko. She genuinely believed she was superior because she has Ozark blood. She was a big believer in natives should run the land. And you see it because in season 4 she tries to align with Ruth. She says the Snells and the Langmores have had generations of people in these lands. It should be us. And she genuinely despises Wendy and Marty, like Wendy especially, because I think they battled over the custody of the pastor's son Zeke, and it was such a funny storyline. Yeah, Darlene, what a character, man! What a fucking character. What do you
Yeah,
think, Danny?
she's probably the most unpredictable character on the whole show. I feel like there's so many examples of her being just reckless and unpredictable. When she was killing Dell instantly after he insulted her, when she poisoned Jacob, when she shot Frank Jr., and again when she took that new born baby just to basically fill a void. And again, she wasn't this powerful character, right? Like she wasn't from one of the massive family. She just had this small heroin business. She had a farm, and again, she had like a few workers that was loyal to her. Yeah, in this crazy world of Ozark, she manages to survive the cartels. She kept the Casey mob in check, and again, she was one of the few that could manipulate Wendy's
She killed,
political ambitions.
killed the leader of the KC mob as well. I remember because he was shouting at her or something. She couldn't be asked to hear it. She just shot him. It was so funny.
It
Um,
was unreal, man. Yeah,
but she was just reckless, bro. She just fucking acted on instinct. But you know one thing I love about Dali. I mean, people hated her. Like we couldn't wait to see her death. But you know, even when she dies, it was a genuine shock because the way they kill her off, yeah, they kill her off like she's like a nothing character, like she's a nobody, and I love that because you see Darlene, she's this tough, like fierce character. Yeah, she's not scared of no one. But you know when Javi's there with a gun, you see her, she's shit. So she doesn't know what to do. She's scared, and then yeah, Javi just pops her like that. And that's one thing I like about the deaths on this show. No matter how important of a character you are, no matter how big of a character, when it was your time to go, they would kill you just like that. Helen, Darlene, Dell, so Ruth, so many characters that I think it was kind of realistic though, because if you think about it in a real life situation, the cartel would not like you would not have plot armor if you're in the fucking cartel, like doing business for them. Do you know what I mean? These are some of the most dangerous people in the world. They can kill you at any instant. So I appreciate the realism, the darkness, and the grittiness of the show.
yep. Very drunk though.
I say A. I can't lie. Even though she's annoying, I hated her. She
Yeah,
was fucking good. She was good for what she was, and I was glad to see her die. To be honest. Oh, is that the Frank Jr.? Why is he here? He was a shit character.
yeah.
I'll be honest. Shit actor as well. Um, who's? Oh,
Okay.
is that Cade? Listen, Cade was a good character. Again, that's another character that they just killed off. In season one, we see him. He's in prison. He's Ruth's father, and you see the Langmores. They're kind of scared of him because I think he was the leader basically, and
Yeah,
I think Ruth, because I think her uncles are not listening to her, and she just says to them, "I'm going to talk to my dad," and they like shit. But even when he was only in it for like one scene in season one when Ruth goes to visit him. He's so like the way he's just got aura about him. He's quite scary. He's quite intimidating, and then obviously season two he gets out of prison and he has that whole conflict with that Wendy, and Wendy gets him killed because he's a problem. And yeah, didn't he kill the FBI agent? I think he did as well.
yeah, he did.
That was, that was a brutal death. But yeah, he was a good villain for what he was. What do you think of him?
Yeah, I thought he was a good villain. He was, like you said, he basically represented the old Langmo cycle. He was, I think it was Ruth's uncle, if I remember correctly.
He was Ruth's dad.
Was he Ruth's dad?
Yeah, he was Ruth's dad.
Oh, okay. But yeah, like you said, he just didn't have enough scenes on the show, to rank really high. I thought he was a really violent and intimidating character, in the small parts of the show he was there. But again, he wasn't there for that long. He rarely ever made any decisions that could impact, the major plot lines. He just felt like a foil for Ruth Awaya, in my opinion. And yeah, I'd probably put him in the C.
Yeah, I'd say that's fair.
Charlotte.
Charlotte. To be honest, in season one she was really annoying. I'm not gonna lie, but I can't like over the season she becomes a good character. Like not amazing or standout, but I kind of like her character.
Def was the least important kid. Like I felt like Jonah was Def was more important.
Yeah, but I think Charlotte, the way she develops that, and at first she's like, "Why are we leaving? I don't want to leave my friends." Blah blah. And then she just gradually, she learns to accept what her family's involved in, and she decides to help out. She becomes useful. That's one thing I like about the show. The kids aren't useless in it. Like they actually do have value and to what they're doing. But as you said, she's nowhere near Jonah, to be honest. But I wouldn't say why is she there. I'd say
Yeah,
C.
yeah. That's his fair for her. Next is Camilla.
Abby's mum. Uh, I didn't really care. I can't lie. She became like the main villain, obviously, in the second half of the season after
Yeah.
having. But it was kind of forced for me. I feel like she was weak. I didn't really care. I mean, she kills the roof, but yeah, I don't really care about that much, to be honest. I thought, why is she there?
Claire.
Is this the short? Was it Shore Trust or something? The foundation they were setting up.
Yeah.
Yeah,
That's
again,
it.
I don't know why she's there, to be honest.
This guy's a great actor in general. Camino Del.
Oh my god. Oh,
Unreal actor, man. I love him.
I think his name's Isai Morales or something. But listen, Del is one of the best villains of any TV show. I loved him. He's only in it for a season, yeah. I still kind of, it's a weird one because as great as his death was, and it was shock factor and value, a little bit of me wanted to see more of him because he was such a fascinating character. But I guess that's the nature of the show Ozark is. But Del, season one, Del, fucking hell, this guy. Every time he was on the screen, he stole the show. My eyes were glued to him. The way he would speak. The thing, I think, the scary thing about Del, he was intimidating and scary, but it wasn't because he was hot-headed or like. He was just so calm. He was so cool. He was so calculated. For him, it was strictly business. It was nothing personal. I mean, let's talk about the first scene, episode 1, when we first see him. Yeah, the pilot starts off a bit slow. You're like, okay, where's this going? And then as soon as Dale gets introduced, fucking hell, they just take it to the next level and up a notch. They raise the stakes. That whole scene when he's like fishing, like he's trying to find out who stole money from them, and the way he gradually gets more intense. He starts telling the story of, my father caught the worker, she stole me, what should I, the story he keeps telling, what should I do, what should I do, and they're all giving like shit answers, basically baiting themselves out that they stole the money. And then Marty's just there, and Marty, this is why I love Marty. I fucking love Marty Bird. We'll get on to him, but Marty's there. He's like, oh, I don't buy this, like this ruse. You're fishing for something. And then they'll just he just shoot. I think he shoots Bruce's girlfriend when she goes to the toilet, just like that. And it's like, whoa. And then all of a sudden, they're all lined up, and it's the way it's done is so brutal. I think there was a father and son, and he's like begging not to kill his son, and then Dell says to him, no father should have to see their son die, and he just pops the father right there, and then he gets one of his accomplices to pop the son, like literally right after one another. It was so scary. And then you see them, he's dumping their bodies into like the acid barrels, and then the way he approaches Bruce, and like he basically just tells him, how much did you steal? He doesn't say it in like a scary way or like shouting at him. He just asks, how much did you steal? And then Bruce says it, and he's like, the way he just says, okay, and he gets up and he shoots him. And then he goes to Marty, and obviously I think Dell had a soft spot for Marty. That's the only reason Marty survived, because he liked Marty. Even in the flashback episodes, we see he rates Marty's like eye and how smart Marty is, how good of a talker he is, and like the way Marty had the gift of the gab, didn't he? And the fact that he even let Marty finish his bullshit story, I think he deep down he knew it was bullshit, though, don't you think?
Yeah, definitely. And just to talk about this, I like this actor in general, right? So I was always gonna love him when he was gonna be in this series. But that, like you said, that first season, that first scene especially, like it straight away established this guy was gonna be a massive deal. He presents himself like being this, really calm and collected character, but then you can turn it on a switch. Like we were talking about Jacob, similar kind of tendencies there. It makes him real fun to watch. Like even when things go sideways, he isn't reckless at all. He enforces the cartel rules, but it's not like he's loud about them. He just does it quietly, and he can, like I said, um, he was a true early season threat. Like he was a key obstacle for the family in the first season. He's tired of the cartel business. He sets the tone like you basically don't mess with the cartel, which I think that was key to do because they established the cartel as a massive deal. He added lots of depth, I'd say, to the criminal world, probably more than anyone early on. So yeah, man, I love this character, love the actor. Just nothing good to say about him. I mean, nothing bad to say about him.
Scary thing about Del was as well. I think they mentioned in season 1, he wasn't even the main villain of the cartel. He was just one of the like
Yeah,
representatives.
exactly.
That's why it made you scared. Imagine what the fucking leader is like. But obviously, we'll get on to Navarro. But Del was such a great villain. Like it's a bit of a double-edged sword. I get why they killed him for the shock factor, to show you anyone can go at any time. And his death was great, but a bit of me kind of missed him. I would have liked to have seen him, but I remember his death scene. I mean, he always liked Marty Bird, innit? Like he always used to tell stuff in riddles, and Marty was always clocked onto it. And I think, was it the scene when he's like, when Marty asked him like, "Oh, you didn't know Bruce and them guys stole a thing, did you?" And he's like, "Yeah, I didn't. You were right. I was fishing." And then he tells Marty like, "As much as I like you, I need to make sure what you're doing is not bullshit, basically. And that's the thing. The scary thing about Del. Like, he genuinely liked Marty, but even he didn't care. He told Marty, if you're bullshitting me, I'm gonna kill you. I'm gonna kill your kids. I'm gonna kill your wife. I'm not even gonna tell you the order in which I'll do it. Like, he was that cold. Like, he would just say it. He wouldn't even like go over the top or like shout or scream or do anything crazy. But
Yeah.
even in that calm tone that he had, you were like, oh fuck, like this guy means business. He's not joking around. Yeah, Dell was a great character. The actor playing him was brilliant. Yeah, his death was shocking. I remember it. He even says it to Marty, only Marty Bird can get me to partner with a bunch of fucking rednecks. And it's such a great line and a great scene. And the way it escalates from that as well, it's like, wow. But yeah, I'd say he's either A or an S tier.
I'm fine
What do
with
you
it.
think?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think he's only in it for a season. You have to put him in A.
Yeah.
Yeah.
3.
This guy was jokes. He was just there. He was just
Yeah.
there.
He's wild in there, not gonna lie.
No, I put him in C. I like 3. I
Would
liked him.
you?
I
Oh,
liked him. He was kind of funny. He was a bit of a comic relief of the show as well at times. Okay,
right.
this guy, it was very weird but interesting character, don't you think?
Yeah. Was he? I'd say he was a secondary antagonist on the show. I feel like in the first 2 seasons, especially, he played a really significant role. Like he put pressure on them through, the investigation and surveillance. I thought he brought the tension really well. He represented the law enforcement as like a real danger. Unlike the cartel threats, which I thought was great. And again, he genuinely just wanted justice. He struggled, with I know he kind of struggled with his job because there were limitations to his job. But again, I thought he developed a great personal connection with his partner, Ange Petty's team, and he just became obsessed with capturing Marty. And he didn't cross the ethical lines, but there were times where he came close to crossing them. But yeah, I feel
Not
like
honest at times.
yeah, exactly, and I feel like this, that kind of depth to his arc made him more than just a quote unquote bad guy. So yeah,
Yeah, like even though he's law enforcement, as he said, he didn't care. He would resort to any methods to get what he wanted. The way he used Russ, obviously he found he was very smart. He was very cunning. Obviously, he found out the fact that Russ is gay in it, and he played into that by getting into a relationship with him. And then he started blackmailing him, saying, "Oh, you're going to be my informant." And then he does the same, I think, with Rachel as well in season 2. Yeah, and you can tell he's a bit unstable, right? He's a bit of a screw loose, and we see it. That's why I think he's a very interesting character. I think he was a good little antagonist. And they just killed him off. It was brutal. I still remember Cage just whacks him over the head with the toolbox, and it was a brutal death. But I think for the time that he had on the show, he was a very good character. He was very interesting. I'd say either B or A.
what would you say though? B.
Yeah, I think B is fair.
Next one is Ross.
Ross, again, he was only in it for a season. He was alright. I'd say C.
Yeah, that's fine. Buddy.
Oh, I love this guy. This guy was a very funny character. Like even when the start of the show, like I think he's basically he's terminally ill, and he's like, oh, he lets the birds come and stay in, but the one condition he sells the house to the birds is like, you gotta let me stay basically and do what I want. And it was really funny. It was a really funny dynamic to see. He used to just be butt naked and walk around the house, just doing whatever he wanted. And like Wendy's like, what the fuck? But funnily enough, he develops a bond over the course of the 2 seasons that he's in. Develops a close bond with Jonah and even with Wendy as well. I remember an episode when him and Wendy go and burn down like the I think the Snell's land or something. And obviously he had ties to the KC mob back in his day, and that's how the KC mob get involved in the storyline. But yeah, but he was good for what he was. He was just one of those guys with a lot of wisdom. He just didn't give a fuck. He was dying. And yeah, I think did he teach Jonah how to shoot a gun as well?
Yeah, it was him.
Yeah, and obviously at the end of season 1 when he killed that guy, that was jokes.
I'd put him B.
Yeah, I think B's fair. He was good for what he was.
Yeah. Charles.
This is to us. As I've said, I wasn't a big fan of that the whole political side of the show, but it wasn't a Y. I'd say C. Oh, I think he liked Wendy, didn't he?
It was him, yeah.
Yeah, but she rejected and then he became salt.
What do you mean? What do you put him, D or C?
Oh yeah, there's D as well. Why are they? I think C, to be honest. I don't think he was. I think he was quite interesting. He had some good dialogue.
Erin.
Yeah, why they did? She was fucking annoying. She never came back to the show, did she? Afterwards,
Nah.
they just wrote her off. Yeah.
Jim.
Oh, this is their lawyer, isn't it?
Yeah, he was involved in all the political side of the show.
Yeah. But I liked him though. He was a good character. Like he had good one-liners. I'd say C.
Maya.
Oh, that's the FBI. Ugh, I didn't really care about the character. I'll be real. Why they did?
Mel.
This guy was so corny. I'm sorry. Like he was such a goof. Like
What was he? Was he working as like a legal consultant or something?
no. He was a private investigator.
Was he a private?
And I think he took an interest in the case with the birds in the Ozarks, and then he basically finds out what happened to Ben, and through that he finds out they're in the cartel. And he's such an idiot. I remember the final is the ending when he's like, "Oh, I know what you guys are doing, blah blah," and then they're just like, and then Jonah just pulls a gun and shoots him. It was just, I think he's just a dumb character. I can't lie. Why?
Bruce.
You know what? Bruce is only in it for like he's in the first episode and he's in a flashback episode. He's just an idiot, and he's just a goof. But I actually liked him for what it was. But again, why the hell? He wasn't in it enough to have an impact.
Sam
was a funny character, man. I can't lie. I liked him for what he was. Wasn't he running? Was he running like a funeral home or something? But housing estate agent, I think.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, and then obviously Wendy like has him on her finger. Like he just did whatever Wendy told him to do. I remember he had a mum who was like such a bitch. Yeah, and then I think he married the stripper. He fell in love with the stripper, and he was alright character. I'd say C. He was good comic relief in it.
Agent Trevor.
I don't know. Like his character was a bit weird. Like even though he had nothing about it. Like he was just angry all the time.
He worked with Roy, right? But I don't think he was anywhere near Roy.
Yeah, he was dead. Like in comparison, I don't even know what happened. I can't even remember what happened to him. I think him and had a relationship, didn't they? Agent Petty. And yeah, he was just, I don't know. He was just always angry at the time. He had no plan. He just went in all guns blazing. I'm gonna find you, guy. I'm gonna work out what you're doing. But
I don't think he was seen much after season. Was it 2?
yeah,
I think it was season 2.
But he does show up in season 3 and 4 though.
Yeah,
he was in season 3, but dead character. Why they're here?
The sheriff.
Why they're here? To be honest,
Nathan.
Why they're here?
Sue Shelby.
Is that the therapist? I can't lie. She was actually funny.
She did play. Yeah, in a few scenes, she was funny, man.
Yeah, I remember they were both bribing her. I remember she pulls out. She had like a Ferrari or something.
Yeah.
She was funny. I can't lie, but no, fuck it. Put her and see. She was actually funny. I remember the scene when she's like, I think she baits out that they're both paying her like, what kind of couple are paying each other, paying me off to like take their side. It was such a funny scene, but yeah, give her a C. Who's that? Oh, that's the old woman, the annoying bitch.
Oh. Frank.
Oh, he was the leader of the case. Can't lie, I was a bit disappointed with the KC mob storyline. It didn't really go anywhere, to be honest. I thought there would be like this big bad, but nah. Frank was alright though. I'd say C.
Marty. Carpe. You can wax lyrical about him.
Listen, this guy is the absolute goat. He's one of my all-time favorite television show characters. He's so good, and a big part of that is Jason Bateman. I mean, wow, he's known as a comedic actor, but he's always had that dry sort of sense of humor. Like he's a very sarcastic guy, but it worked so well with Marty Bird. I mean, some of the acting he had was phenomenal. Like the moral complexity, like he was a guy. He was so smart. He was obsessed with patterns and routine. I mean, they did an episode in season 3, I think, when they take him and he has that flashback to when he's a kid on the arcade, and you see his obsession with numbers and stuff. How it started. And he's such a good character, isn't he, Danny? Like this guy would be under the most extreme pressure, yeah, and he would never crumble. He would never, you know what I mean? He just composed. You would never think this guy's like basically threatened by the cartel. If he doesn't make the money, he's gonna die. A thing I like about Marty, whatever fucked up situation they were put in, how like he always had a solution. He was always thinking of a solution. He never let it fluster him. He never let the pressure get to him. He was always working on something. Him and Wendy, to be fair. Um, yeah, he's
Yeah,
a guy.
Carpe.
Yeah, go on, Danny.
I was gonna say, like you said, this guy a sensational character. My favorite on the whole show, the central protagonist of the show. His everything about him, his adaptability, his intelligence, just makes him one of the most compelling characters on the whole series. He's basically the mastermind of the empire. He designs and runs the empire. He's always, constantly strategizing everything. In like every episode in the first season, something was happening, and he was always involved in it. Really, like we said, adaptable, strategic. He's just someone. If you were running like a empire or something, he's just someone you like to have on your team, right? Like he just, I mean, he's great under pressure. Rarely ever loses composure, if I'm being honest. And again, he's integral to all the major storylines. His emotional core, alongside Wendy and their children, I thought was fantastic. It doesn't have much weaknesses, to be honest. But yeah, man, I think quite easily an S tier character, one of the best in the whole show. It's probably my favorite.
Think about Marty. He had the gift. That whole scene when he's explaining to Dell, like based off a leaflet, off a leaflet, he was managed to spin that story. I can wash so much money. There's so much tourism there, blah blah. And in season 1, it's so fascinating the way he goes to like these dead businesses and like revives them. He like the way he gets the blue cat is, I think he sticks up for Tuck or something, and he gets punched, and that way they're like, oh, he's a good guy, and he gets there. Then he takes over the strip bar, and then he takes over the church, even, and the funeral home, and like it's so funny. People are like, what are you doing with this? He's like, I don't know, I just want to invest my money, you know. Marty Bird had the best crash outs as well. You know when he used to like just go off one, it was amazing. I remember the one. Do you remember the one when he's in the bank and he's
Yeah,
like withdrawing money, and they're like, "Oh, you can't. It's suspicious." And he's like, "If I want to take my money, put it in a bathtub, get butt naked, and swim in it, I'm entitled to do that. It's my money." And he was just such a great character. I love him. A great actor. He has some of the best dialogue on the show. As you said, Dan, he was never flustered, bro. He was never flustered. He's just like so nonchalant in it. And the thing about, I think the best bit of Marty, he even though he was dealing for the cartel, he had a moral complexity. He didn't enjoy what he was doing. I think he hated every single moment of it. He was just doing it purely for the sake of his family, you know, um, to keep them alive and keep himself alive for the sake of family. And yeah, I mean, I think he carries that rationale throughout the whole show. And that's why he's one of the few characters that's trying to get the family out of it. But as it's funny because as the seasons go on, they just get deeper and
yeah.
deeper, deeper and deeper. But Marty Bird, what a character! He's one of my favorite main characters of all time. He's such a
W-
good actor,
One of my
such a good
favorite
character.
scenes, one of my favorite seasons in, I think, season one, episode 10, where him and Del were negotiating over the casino. I thought that was a
Oh,
great scene.
wow. I remember it's so funny because like half an hour earlier, Dell's like taking his toenail off with a
Yeah.
fucking. It's just the way Marty is able to get himself out of situations. But I think season 3 we really delve into the psyche of Marty. You know when the cartel take him and they keep him as like a prisoner, and then they're blasting that music, like torturing him basically. And Navarro keeps asking him like, "What do you want, Marty?" And then he has that crack, like Marty Bird to a cartel boss is telling him, "I hope you fucking die, mate. Like, I hope the other side cut your head off and they win. That's what I want." But Navarro respects that. Like, he's like, "Finally, you're just saying what you want." And obviously, he hated the fact that Wendy was going against him, having secret calls. Him and Wendy used to have the funniest arguments. Oh, they were so good. They were so entertaining. But yeah, Marty Bird, yeah, so much. I remember the scene. Was it when there's a problem with the flag? There's a red flag on the accounts, and
Yeah.
they get Marty in prison to like clear it, and he does it. Yeah, and he's like, "I won, motherfucker," and he's like kicking the chair, and they're like dragging him away. He's like, "Fuck you, bitch." It was so good. And again, season 4, Marty, we see him. Remember when he's like the acting boss of the cartel? The aura he had, he's like telling to, and then he was torturing like one of the guys as well, saying you're a traitor, blah blah. It was so good. My Bird, what a character, S tier, easily.
Yeah.
Love that guy.
I mean, another, in my opinion, SJ character, Navarro.
Ooh, do you think he's an S tier?
I think he is, man. Where would you put him in A?
You know, I don't know what it is about Navarro. Like, he's a good character, he's a good villain, but I don't know. Because of Dell. I think I was expecting a lot more.
Oh, yeah, okay, fair. I get what you say, yeah. But
When
if I take him on its own entity, I'd put him in S, not gonna lie.
he's a strong. I'd say A. I'd say A for me, but I can see why you put him in S because he's a bit different. He's very different to Dell. Like he gets a bit more rattled and riled up. Like he'd crash out, but
Yeah.
he wasn't bad. He was just very different to Dell, and I think because I saw how good Dell was, I was kind of expecting a bit more for the leader of the cartel. But he was good at what he done. Like I enjoyed his dynamic with Wendy. You know, he was a good character, especially in season 4 when he basically said it was so weird. He's making a deal with the FBI to get out of the cartel, and he kind of loses. I think his death scene was great though. The way he
It
gets
was,
tricked
yeah.
is really good. But Navarro is a good character. I think
You put him in
A or X for him, to be
I
honest.
put him in high.
Yeah, high.
Nelson.
No, that's also a good character. Like he was just there, and he was scary. He was genuinely scary, intimidating. You know, he would just kill. He was a guy strictly business, nothing personal. You know, Helen, who he's with the whole time. I think they were working together for years. He just kills her in an instant, just like that, because they tell him to. Yeah, I mean, he kills Ben as well. He killed the therapist. He's just that guy. I think it's B or a C for him. I think C's fair, to be honest.
Rachel. I mean, you already spoke about her, but
I just spoke earlier, but C. I'll say C.
yep, C's fine, and that's fine. Let me just zoom it out here. No, there.
Yeah, that's pretty solid, to be fair. The S tier characters I have no complaints with Marty, Ruth, and Wendy.
Is there any from A you'd move up or potentially down?
Only I can't lie. I think Dell is the only one I think I'll probably move up. I just love Dell so much, but
Yeah, listen, I love him as well. Adam Mahmoud would S tier.
go on then, put Dell in S tier.
You know, the rest are, I think the rest are alright, you know. I wouldn't move any up or down.
Yeah, I'd agree. But that's the character ranking. I think we can all agree that Marty Bird's the best character on the show.
Oh yeah, by far. Let me just put him at the start of the list. There.
But yeah, let's talk about the seasons then. The thing that I love about Ozark, the overall theme is the rationale is we can apply this through our lives as well as how far would you go for the sake of family, you know, to protect the American dream. A lot of people in everyday life do things they do messed up things under the rationale of, oh, I'm doing it for the family, I'm doing it for the greater good of my family, to protect my family. But the thing about Ozark, it takes normal people, right? Like Marty and Wendy, they have basically a normal American family, you know? And
Yeah.
it takes them and it makes them into absolute monsters over the course of the show. They just become more and more morally depraved. Like they start treating people as like numbers. It's just like they lose their morality, they lose their humanity, which I guess you have to do if you want to survive, you know, working for the cartel. You know, it's a ruthless business, but it was such an interesting dynamic just to see how the whole family really descends into that line of, are we doing this for the family? Are we doing this for, you know, the greater good, or are we just doing this for our own interests and our own gain and benefit. I think there's a big theme in the show about vultures, right? That a lot of the imagery they have the animal, the vultures, and I think that's a metaphor for the bird family because they come to the Ozark and they're like vultures. They pick away at dead businesses. You know, they ruin everything. They ruin the Langmore's family. They ruin the Snell family. They ruin the pastor's family. They're like this corrupting force without them even trying to be, but through the actions they end up I think they end up becoming the big bads even more than the cartel, which is crazy to think about.
Yeah, agreed. What season would you say is the best copy?
For me, season one blew me out of the water. The pilot episode for season one, I still remember it. I like season three a lot as well. I think for me, season one is number one, and then season three is two. Then I'd put maybe season. I didn't really enjoy season two that much. It was too political for me, but I put season two at number three or
Do you
four.
do you feel like the high points of season 4 were better than the high points of season 2?
I think so. I mean, I personally enjoyed the first half of season four. I think we can split season four
Yeah,
A and
yeah,
B. Season four B is the weakest in the show, 100%.
yeah.
That's lost, and then so at five I'd put season four B. At four I'd put season two. At three I'd put season four A. At two I'd put season three, and at
Agreed.
one I'd put season one. What do you think,
Yeah.
Danny?
Yeah, I agree with that. I wouldn't change. Like I said, I feel like the high points of season 4, the first part especially, was much better than what we got in season 2. So yeah, them rankings are perfect.
Yeah, I mean, see, should we talk about the ending then of the show? Like, I know
Yeah.
people, you know what it is with the ending of Ozark. At the time, I was kind of done, not done with the show, but because of how boring I thought the second half of the season was, I was like, kind of like, okay, yeah, let's just get this over with. But looking back at it now, people complained about it saying it's a shit ending. I don't think it was a shit ending. I think it was a good ending. I think it will grow on people over time. I appreciate what they tried to do. What did you make of the ending, Danny?
You know what? I actually like the ending. Even at that time, I feel like it was really consistent with the whole show of the whole theme of the whole show. It, I think, closed a lot of good character arcs. And again, the emotional impact I thought was really good. Like Ruth walking away, Jonah and Charlie being able to witness the consequences, and Wendy's full embrace of what power can basically create. So yeah, I feel like even at that time, yeah, people like I don't know if I was done with the show. I was still watching it, but again, like you said, season 4 was definitely the weakest part of the show. But I mean, for what the final was, I mean, I enjoyed it, to be honest.
Yeah, I think because the whole course of the show, we're thinking, oh, can these guys escape the cartel? Can they get out? And then by the end of it, you realize, nah, these guys enjoy working for the cartel. Actually, they become the main villains of the show in a
Yeah.
sense because they instead of like fighting it, they realize, you know what, we're actually good at this. We're good at this money laundering. We're good at this lying to people, using people, manipulating people, and they become a very powerful family. Like, I think they become like they have their own foundation, their own charity trust set up. They gain so much, and I think it's a broader metaphor for like the world as well, how it is
Also,
like the
also, I feel like it did avoid the cheap or unrealistic what would have been, like this happily ever after. Like that was never gonna happen. If it did happen, I would have kind of felt disappointed after everything and all the arcs I had gone through the show. So I'm kind of grand. Like I know many crime dramas do end with, a redemption or an arrest for the protagonist, but I feel like this did give a realistic and a dog victory. Like these guys have just embraced what they are, and they enjoy doing it. So yeah, I mean, I enjoyed the ending.
yeah. And I think like obviously if it was another TV, the thing about Ozark I always appreciate it was realistic. It didn't sugarcoat anything. It wasn't that show where you think, oh yeah, Ruth's gonna win, Jonah's gonna like rebel against his family, and Marty's gonna get out. It was like, nah. And these guys succumb. Eventually they succumb to the power, they succumb to the greed, they succumb to the corruption, and they become some of the biggest players. I think they even become more powerful. Like the birds are basically controlling the cartel if you think about it at the end of the show, which is crazy to think about. Like they're big players, and
Yeah.
I think the scary thing about the ending as well is that I don't think Wendy was evil already, but like she was the most like embracing of what they were involved in. But Marty used to like be so against it. He hated it. But by the end of the show, even Marty, like you see it, he doesn't care anymore. He's like, yeah, this is me now. And that's why I like the ending, because it's fucked up. Like a family's about to kill a detective, and they're just so numb to it. They don't. They're like, oh yeah, we've done this so many times now. And like Martin and Wendy, kind of the way they just look at Jonah, like, yeah, shoot him. It's just scary, isn't it?
Yeah, and like you said, they don't try to redeem anything. They just they even don't try to sugarcoat the actions. They just embrace what they are and what they become over the 4 seasons. So yeah, man. I mean, I know some people aren't high on the ending, but for me, I enjoyed it. I thought it was a satisfying ending to the show and a good closure.
Yeah, I think the main theme, as you said, birds are like vultures, and they just pick away at the dead businesses, like the people, the way they use people, like the roof, blah blah blah. It's such a good show. I think Ozark, even though I wasn't a fan of how the last final few episodes were, I still look back at it very fondly, and I think the legacy of Ozark now, it's a weird one because it doesn't have a dramatic fall off. Like it's still a
Yeah.
good show, but I feel like it could have broken into like if they finished the season strongly, it could have broken into elite or like great status spot. Because it didn't, it falls just a category below. What do you think, Danny?
Yeah, and one of the best things about Ozark as a series is you can relate it to your, everyday lives. Like they were a normal middle class family. Imagine us, yeah, just living around crime. We'd eventually become corrupt about crime, no matter how hard we try to avoid it. If we had people around us who are into crime, there's just no way you can avoid it. And there were
They
like
still
two, three
pick
characters.
of your circumstance. I think they done that perfectly with the Ruth Langmore
Yeah,
story.
that's why I liked it so much, man. Great show.
Great show. I
Where
mean,
does
it's
it rank
immense.
in your Where does it rank in your all-time shows, Carpe? Is it high or?
At one point, after season one, I had such high
Yeah,
hopes. So
yeah,
I was on that bandwagon. Like, this is the new Breaking Bad, blah blah blah. But I still look back at it very fondly. For me, right now, it's still a top 15 show for me.
yeah. It's probably around 10 to 15 for mine as well. I'd say
Yeah,
it's higher than Prison Break, not gonna lie.
yeah, definitely. It's higher than The Walking Dead and Prison
And
Break for
Prison,
me.
yeah,
I think it was good for what it was. Like, I really enjoyed it. It was gritty. It was dark. They had some messed up moments, some messed up storylines. I think the biggest thing though, Marty Bird was just such a fascinating character. He's one of the all-time greatest characters. For me, he's easily a top 10 main character from any TV show, which is a big statement.
would you watch a spin-off involving other characters? Would you like actually be interested in that or not?
Nah, I don't think so. I think
Yeah, agreed. I feel like they all got their perfect ending, and there was just no way you could, replicate that. I know fans have talked about guys like Jonah getting a spin-off, but nah, I think I was fine with the ending.
yeah, it doesn't need any spin-offs, to be honest. The way because the show was about the family, to be honest. So I don't think it really needs a spin-off. The way they did it was perfect. But yeah, man, Ozark. Looking back at it now, it could have an argument to be the best Netflix show, though.
Yeah, I mean Breaking Bad.
But Breaking Bad is not produced by
Oh,
Netflix.
all right, all right. You mean produced? Yeah, yeah. Definitely one of the best produced Netflix TV shows, in my opinion. Yeah.
It is up there. And I know there's more popular shows like Cobra Kai or Stranger Things, but I think the quality of Ozark, even though it doesn't, I don't know. Do you think it's underrated? I do think it is a bit underrated. Obviously, like, I remember not many people used to watch it, which is maybe a reason why they decided to end it, because I didn't think it got a lot of viewers. But because you know why? Because I think the marketing done a bad job. They marketed it as like the new Breaking Bad, which it's never going to live up to Breaking Bad.
Yeah.
It's a big comparison to make. But Ozark in its own right was such a fascinating show, such an interesting show. It has a good cult fan base, I'd say, and I
You were
definitely do.
talking. You were talking about Stranger Things and Cobra Kai. I have behind them both of them.
Yeah, quality wise, 100%.
Yeah.
It's better show. It's a stronger show. Better characters, better storylines, better acting. But popularity wise, it is nowhere near them.
Yeah.
But that's kind of expected. Those shows are more for like mainstream and like casuals.
They're more
But
catered to mainstream. Yeah, exactly.
But Ozark, it's just one of those shows. I always used to recommend it to people. It's so good. I was disappointed though by the season 4B. I feel like season 4B it kind of brought the show down when it should have been.
Yeah.
I would have had it in much higher if it didn't end. So not put. See what I mean, Danny? It didn't end shit. It wasn't as horrible as like I don't know a season 8 of Game of Thrones or something like that.
Well,
But
yeah, it was nowhere near as bad as that. But I
yeah,
get like I
but
think definitely in the 4B it did fall off. Like you could notice that. But yeah, I don't think the drop off was as dramatic as Game of Thrones
yeah.
or even The Walking Dead after season 7.
Wasn't there a weird, boring storyline of Wendy losing custody of her kids to her dad and mum? It's like, I don't know. Why is this in the final few episodes? We don't care about this. But
Yeah, exactly.
yeah, I think season 4B definitely lets the show down, but it wasn't bad. Like compared to some of the final seasons of other shows, it's a lot better than them. But yeah, and the ending for what it is now, I can look back and appreciate it as well. I think they wrapped up most of the arcs really well. One biggest complaint people have had about the show, I think, the deaths. It's a bit, I don't know though, because Dan, sometimes I think them killing off characters whenever they want it was a good thing for the show. Is
It
realistic,
was, yeah.
but sometimes you think maybe a character like Dell could have been in it longer, but it is what it is. I still thoroughly enjoy this show. I have fond memories of it. Season 1 is probably one of my favorite season 1s of any show. It was riveting television. I was hooked. It had me glued to the screen. And yeah, I think Jason Bateman, wow. I think he directed some episodes as well of this. But since Ozark, anytime Jason Bateman is involved in a project, I will watch it. And that's a testament to how great of a performance he had and his portrayal. I'll watch anything with him in it.
I mean, we recorded a Walking Dead review, like full recap of the series and characters last week. I think it was. Do you prefer season 1 of Walking Dead or season 1 of Ozark? It's a tough
That's
one
is a hard one, to be honest. That is a hard one. They're both elite
in
seasons
their
of
own ways. Yeah,
but I think I'll give the edge to The Walking Dead.
same. Yeah, like I don't think a show's ever. I mean, we don't mix about Ozark, but I don't think a show's ever hooked me like that.
I tell you what, though, this is funny because I think Breaking Bad's arguably the greatest show of all time. I think Ozark season 1 is better than Breaking Bad season 1.
Oh yeah, I agree with that.
Yeah,
I mean, I don't think Breaking Bad season 1 was bad.
yeah, it wasn't bad. I'm not saying it's
Yeah,
bad. Season this, I'm not even. We'll just say Breaking Bad for, and that's going to be a whole.
yeah, we talk about that.
But yeah, Ozark was a great show, man. I really enjoyed it. I really enjoyed talking about it. But yeah, that's been our Ozark tier ranking for the characters, seasons, talking about the legacy of the show, what we loved, what we didn't like. Let us know what you thought. Are we chatting rubbish? Did we do bad? It would be nice if you guys commented. But listen, movies and shows. This is a topic that we really want to give you guys more content on. But yeah, next, I'm not going to promise anything. We do have some subjects in mind, some shows in mind. But yeah, it's been a good one, Danny. Any final thoughts?
Yeah, man. I mean, we have discussed. We want to make movies and TV shows a consistent thing on this channel. So yeah, like these shows like Walking Dead, also Prison Break, which we've done. We'll try to do more like I think Breaking Bad's a great one. We could do Stranger Things is coming up. The final season. I think it drops tomorrow, if I remember correctly. So we could do that after it's finished. So yeah, man. Just you can expect good things from our channel.
Yeah, we've seen bear shows and movies.
Yeah.
It's just hard to get people on it, but hopefully we're gonna be more consistent with it. But yeah, guys, that's been Mission Podcast Ozark tier ranking. Remember to like, comment, subscribe, get our socials. We're on TikTok, Instagram, Twitter. You know the drill. But yeah, see you guys for the next one.